So I recently did a weapons guide. I left out some weapons. I didn't really want to go down some like cantankerous list and hit them all one by one robotically. The thing about the guns in this game is even though there's quite a few of them, they're all so different. Every gun is a different. It's its own gun. Okay, and then really the theme from the last video that I would like to still impress in this video would be that there really are not any bad weapons. Not really. They're just situational. So I left out the Blakero last video, and I'm sure there's people that be like, well, how could you leave that out? Well, the Blakero. It is. I know why I forgot it. It's such a forgettable gun. It is such a forgettable gun. It's basically like an Argenti, I guess, but it has 2 more rounds and it does less damage. The cool thing about it is it makes a really scary noise. When it shoots, it sounds powerful. 15 rounds for a rifle is pretty good for a magazine. I think it has more ammo than any other rifle in the game for one magazine. Its range isn't quite Loudcaster range. Its range seems to be superior to that of Argenti. In the Argenti weapon description, it doesn't say that it has low. It doesn't say it has low velocity barrel, but the Blakero, it says that it has 11% damage reduction. I haven't particularly noticed this. I mean, when compared to the Loudcaster, it's somewhat noticeable, but I don't think it's that noticeable. It still takes about 3 or 4 shots to take down a truck or disable a truck, and about 1 or 2 like 2 shots to take down a guy. So comparable. It just doesn't really excel. It just doesn't. The reason why, all right, I really think the reason why people like this gun so much is out of all the guns in the armory, this one feels the most like a Call of Duty gun. Not the modern warfare kind of Call of Duty, but like the World War II Call of Duty rifles. It feels like that. It feels like, I don't know. It has that lack of authenticity, I guess, that only Call of Duty could really produce. And I think that's why people like it, because, in shooters, right, you can just, as soon as you click, that's as fast as you could click, right, as you should click, because, you shoot more bullets the faster you click, right? But that's not how it works in Foxhole. The thing about the Blakero is it's one of the few weapons that almost works if you just try to click spam. It's one of those ones where it just fires so rapidly, and the accuracy reduction from shooting is not that pronounced, but it's just a Call of Duty gun. It's not the right gun for this game. I don't think so. Noobs love it because it's pretty easy to use, but it just doesn't. It's easy to figure out, but there's no payoff. There's no great payoff to figuring it out. It's a serviceable weapon, I guess I would say. It doesn't really play to our strengths. It just gives us an Argenti alternative. It's basically a Warden Argenti. That's the best way to put it. Next is the Lion Claw that I forgot. Ultimately, I mean, the Blakero, like, it defies the definition of good or situational. It's just okay. It's just a good gun. Another okay gun. I mean, it'd be situational if you were a collie. That'd be the situation to use it. I don't really pick them up. It's the Lion Claw. The Lion Claw looks and sounds and the damage that it does, it just all gives me the same sensation that it's made of plastic, that it's like some sort of plastic weapon. It has 20 rounds in the magazine, which is subpar for a submachine gun. Both of the Warden SMGs have 25. It shoots. The thing I like about it is it seems to shoot pretty accurately when you just hold it down. Usually when I hear them fire, the whole mag gets dumped pretty much. I mean, this weapon used to be scary like years ago, but now it's just kind of fallen from the grace, fallen from grace. Yeah, I mean, you'll see some Kali partisans wearing that. I mean, using that, but I haven't. It's been a very long time since I was like, damn it, I was Lion Clawed. It just it's accurate enough and it's light enough and it has enough ammo and it kind of just falls in the same category of the Blakero where it's too balanced. There's no like you can't swing it like a heavy cudgel. You have to like balance it like a fucking katana to make it work. Next, the other weapon that I left out, and this one I'd never used it before, so I didn't really, but I just used it. It's great. The mortar is so good. The mortar is so good. The mortar is so very good. I love the mortar. It's so good. It's such a good gun. It's very good. It's very very good. It's a good gun to use. In fact, if you can use the mortar, you probably should. I mean, you probably just should. So basically, you need binoculars, a mortar, and as many shells as your guy can carry. There is the specialist uniform that I think allows you to carry twice as many of those shells. But the binoculars are absolutely necessary. Okay, so first, what you want to do is you want to sight out. You want to sight out the azimuth and distance. Right, the mortars only have a distance of 80 meters. However, that should be 80 meters asterisk because the wind is always blowing in one direction or another. There's never no wind. You can look on the bunkers and see which way it's pointing. Okay, so if it's pointing towards you, that means you have 70 meters of distance. If it's pointing away from you, that means you have 90. Okay, and so when I first learned how to use this thing, the wind was blowing towards me, and this is War 94 right now, and it was the most devastating weapon that either side could really muster. We just both developed them, and so just every logi on both fronts was just ramming those streets and ramming the bunker bases with shells, and we just fired back and forth all night. And it's kind of scary. It's kind of scary firing the mortar, just because where you have to put yourself. Okay, that's why most people probably don't do it. Is you have to put yourself in danger to do it. About medium danger. And the reason why medium danger is so nagging is, when you're up front full on danger, that's all you're doing is you're just being situationally aware. But when you're in the mortar or in the mortar team, you're not very situational aware at all. You're doing fucking arithmetic, okay? So you want to get your azimuth and your range, all right? And then, you want to look at the wind adjustment and compensate for that. You want to try to get your equation to equal that same azimuth and distance that the target that you're looking at. You want to take the wind into account. Okay, you want to be like, okay, well, the wind's blowing this way, so I'm gonna go a little more power. I'm not super math smart. Okay, in fact, math for me isn't a treat. However, if you have enough mortar shells, you can afford to fuck up. Fuck. I mean, 5 Fs on the test is okay if I get to take the test 20 times. You know what I mean? And pass it every time after that, or 100 times. That's a zillion A's just for a couple Fs. Okay. And then you want to use all your ammo. You just want to dump. So you spot it, and once you get a good hit, throw 3 or 4 out there, and then look again. You can actually see with the binoculars where your shells are hitting, even at night. It makes like a big cloud. It looks different than everything else. However, they can also see if you're shooting too. Okay, so about half the fire missions I did was just counter firing the enemy mortar teams, which was very dangerous because I have to get closer to them than they have to get to me, and they can see when I'm firing. So I have to walk and then set up and fire, and then they get to see me firing. And that's super dangerous. But all it takes is one mortar shell to counter an entire battery. Okay, shrapnel, it kills people. The other one kills buildings and vehicles. Great. But the third one is what people really sleep on, and that is the flare shell. The flare shell is great. It's really, it doesn't. The infantry sometimes come up and ask us to flare areas for them, and I mean we do it, and they think we're doing them a favor, but all it does is it just lights the area for like 5 seconds. The mortar flares are so fucking short lived. It's ridiculous. Um, and I mean, I guess if you keep it up, it would matter. But what it really does is it's basically like a tracer round. You get to see, and it'll hang up there and show you right. It'll hover right above the target. It's great. It's basically like having a gun sight on the mortar. That's basically what it's like, having a fucking one of those at the end of the mortar. That's basically what the flare is. Okay, and you could do this during the day too. Okay, and the reason why this is super duper important, there's two reasons. First of all, sometimes the shot goes so fucking wide that you don't even know where the fuck to go from there. You're just like, what the fuck? And that, I mean, that's the scariest part of the mortaring is not even getting counterfired. It's like, where did it go? I don't know where the fucking mortar went. What the fuck? But with the flare, you're gonna see it. You're gonna see the flare wherever it is. And then during the day, you can use the flare too. The only reason I use it during the day is you're like, well, why wouldn't you just shoot a mortar at? Why would you even shoot a flare? Is if we're like five, because dude, there were like 20 people firing mortars from our side alone. Okay, so there's 20 impacts going on, and so I don't know where the fucking I don't know where my shots are landing. So a bunch of the shots aren't even landing on the mark. And so with the flare, you can that that's your flare, unless of course you guys both happen to simultaneously fire off flares, and then So the mortar is just a great weapon. It's an excellent weapon. The only downside to the mortar is the fact it's damage against buildings. It can, a guy with a hammer on the other end can easily stop one mortar guy, probably up to 3 mortar guys, maybe just 2, just whacking the base with the hammer, stopping you from destroying it. That's the downside of the mortar, is they can repair faster than you can destroy with one guy. With 2 guys, you have a couple options, okay? Typically, what I see mortar teams do, and I think this is why some people don't stay mortaring very long, is there's one spotter, just one, and all the guy has is binoculars. That's all he has, not even a fucking rifle. Okay, so there'll be a spotter, and then there'll be like however other many guys with mortar tubes, and he'll be like directing them to do stuff. And that operation is good, but it's just done so much better with an artillery team. To be quite frank and honest with you, that kind of setup. I understand why it worked. It works because when the mortar guys have to go back to get ammo, that's all they have to worry about. They don't have to worry about changing gears or anything. All they have to do is listen to the numbers and just click the button. Okay, but that itself can be kind of boring. And then the guy having the fun is the guy with the fucking binoculars. Okay, but with 2 mortar guys, and I mean this is easy enough to do. Both of you have binoculars. Both of you have a tube. One guy with binoculars directs the guy with the tube, and then once that guy's out of ammo, the other guy pulls up his binoculars. And then like also during this time, right? Let's just say the guy with the binoculars, he actually got sighted in the fucking like the exact coordinates, like he knew exactly where to fire. Okay, well at that point, instead of just like saying, yeah, you hit it again. Wow, yeah, oh wow. He can just get out his own mortar tube and fire and double up on it and dog team it. And that just makes so much more sense. The only reason why I wouldn't always recommend that take of basically mortar brothers, mortar commies, mortar comrade communist brothers. The only reason I would say sometimes don't do that is sometimes the spotters suck, dude. You do have to be kind of smart to figure out what to do. And then other times they can be smart and like they can know how to make the gun work, but they can't read the fucking battlefield. They don't know what because the infantry know. The infantry getting killed no, because it's what's killing them. And they don't like they know what's going on, but the spotters don't. They don't know what the fuck's going on. They're cowards, okay? They always want to be so fucking safe, dude. They always want to be so safe. And when the shooting starts, they always run away. They never fucking whatever. I don't like those guys a lot of the time. But switching off between spotters is good. Even if you just have one mortar tube and you want to kill people, it'll be pretty good. All you have to do is get the fucking road zeroed in. Mortar is just a great weapon. At least top 3 in the game. Of probably anyone's choice. And also from mine. Of course, my favorite weapon is the fiddler. I did crap on the lyre, but that is my second favorite weapon. It would be the first if the fiddler didn't exist. I guess that sounds stupid, but the lyre, I didn't talk very good about the lyre. The lyre is so good. It's so good. It shoots so quickly. It makes like a bullet beam. You can't shoot anyone directly ahead of you. Okay. So it is definitely a medium range weapon. You can't, the short range shit, it doesn't do well at all. It sucks. And then another weapon that I did not give nearly enough credit for, and this is my 4th favorite weapon. Mortars 4. This is number 3, is the frag grenade. Man, I've been sleeping on that one. It is so good. It is so good. All you have to do is cook it off and toss it. Cook it off and toss it. You're going to get a kill every time. As long as the guy's there when you toss it, he's dead when it lands. That's it. I don't know why more people don't do that. So my ideal loadout would be, as a partisan, would be Outrider Mantle. And that one's great, okay? It comes with resistance to snowstorms, slight resistance to snowstorms, which is so much better than no resistance to snowstorms. The Collie uniform doesn't do that. It's basically like wearing the Collie overcoat. Like we get stealth in our Collie overcoats, basically. That's what we get, okay? So that one's fucking awesome. It has some ridiculous bonus where bandages and plasma stack. Why? 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 I mean, like, why? I don't know. I don't know why, but it's cool, I guess. But you know, it sounds cool, and then you realize you can only stack 2 fucking bandages. You can only stack 2 bandages together, which is ridiculous. They're bandages. That part's weird. Whatever. But it's got stealth, and it's got the environmental protection. So that part's great. So you need the Outrider's Mantle. You just need it. Take a submachine gun with 4 magazines. 1 in the gun, 3 offhand. Take a pistol with 4 magazines. 1 in the gun, 3 offhand. Magazines stack, okay? The Outrider has less space in his outfit, but you can still fit a lot of shit in there. Now you have 2 spaces left, okay? The grenade, the 3rd slot, and then 1 more. I would recommend, I like throwing a frag grenade in there and a gas grenade in there, okay? For when I go raiding and I shoot the truck, if they stay in the truck, I can gas them out, which is great. Or if they go hiding somewhere or hiding in front of the truck, the frag grenade will take care of them. It's great. Mammons are not so great. If you have the Outrider's uniform, you don't need Mammons. Mammons are usually there to take care of towers, but you don't need it if you have the Outrider's uniform. The Outrider's Mantle. Do not don't loiter around places. That's what I would say. Is don't loiter. Don't loiter around places. I'll go through a complete partisan detail, but that's my loadout right there, and it's pretty solid. Another loadout that I've really fallen in love with. We're gonna go back to the Hangman. There's that body armor suit, that suit of body armor, and I've played with that body armor for like 3 or 4 wars now, and basically like every single war I'll just try it once. And in the other wars, it didn't really do anything. I couldn't really notice any difference, so I just never did it again. it's really off-putting because I think it only has 3 slots. It only has 3 slots, right? But that with the hangman, okay, it makes you could do some cool stuff with it. So basically, you got your infantry guys, you got infantry guys in cover, and then you've got being inside a building, right? Or like a pillbox or something, a garrison. Well, this is somewhere between being in the trench and being in the garrison with the armor. Like it's that mix of protection. So I don't usually wear it to push per se. Like I don't like stay on the front line with it. Basically just because like the amount of carnage and destruction is so great there that I don't think it's gonna matter. But if you just put yourself like off center, like right behind the main line, right, and just let them fight their fight, and you got to be patient, okay? But you take a hangman, and you could take a bunch of ammo. You could take because the revolver ammo stacks, you could take a bunch of ammo. And it's just I don't know, it works out so well. The hangman with the body armor just works out so stinking well for some reason. But you have to already be aiming. That's the thing, is you have to already be looking down the scope. That would the sight. If you're not already sighted when the enemy comes towards you, then you're it's not going to work. But like you want to put yourself in some heavy cover. You want to put yourself at an angle, like off the side of the battlefield. Usually I don't even like stay like in trenches and shit. I try to get on rocks, shit like that. That works really good. And then so really, like even for anti-partisan work, I'll take the armor and a submachine gun and just one magazine on offhand, and this is good because you don't want to go feeding the partisans a bunch of fucking equipment. Like sometimes I won't even bring a bandage because I don't want the partisans to somehow get a bandage from me and live because I had a bandage. Like I would rather bleed out than have them die. Right? The partisans way worse. But with the body armor, you don't necessarily go slower. I mean, he starts with 60% encumber. Okay, he does go slower. He does necessarily go slower, but it just gives you kind of like a like a boogeyman surprise jump at the partisan. If it's just a lone partisan, like he can't really rush you or stop you before you rush and stop him. What the body armor really does is it gives you 1 second. 1 extra second of life. Now this second, it's usually divvied up into like a fucking like quarters of a second or like fifths of a second. Like that's usually what you get out of it at a time. It's not just 1 extended second of life. It when you're shooting back and forth and trading shots, right? It gives you just that extra little bit of time to stay alive, just a little bit longer to shoot them. And there's a chance that it's like a 40% reduction in bleeding, which is hella cool. I don't think pistol shots can get through it. I think if they hit you in the armor plate, it doesn't go through. I'm fairly certain, unless they're like right in front of you, which is great because there's so many collies that just use the pistol. In fact, I would say the pistol's probably the weapon I've seen most collies use besides the Argenti. But that's probably the same for the Wardens too. It's just the pistol use is more common than you might think. And the collies definitely use it a lot. And it seems to be the armor seems to be almost impervious to the pistol. So, if you're getting shot at or something, the armor can, you can run away or you can shoot them. It gives you just so many options. And the collies their armor is stupid. I don't think I've even seen one wearing it. I don't think I've ever seen one. It's not as pronounced as our armor. None of their uniforms are as pronounced as our uniforms. They just have different like fucking like ponchos and like scarves and shit. Like that's the only difference in their soldiers. Like they're wearing an extra fucking scarf, shit like that. Where our soldiers like fundamentally have a different uniform change. Like the entire thing is just separate, which is great. I mean, I guess it's less great because then they can just pick us out. I mean, our medics stand out so bad with that big patch of white. It would be so delightful to shoot at them, I bet. But yeah, the armor is great. it stops 60% of a bayonet strike too. The Warden armor stops 60% of bayonet strike. I don't even think the Warden armor stops any bayonet. This has only happened to me once, and honestly, it didn't happen that much. It didn't help me out that much because I still had a submachine gun, and I was still right in his face, and it's so easy to miss the submachine gun with just like right there, right in front of their face. For me, at least, I have to like mouse in like hella quick and be like way quicker than I am. I'm not that quick. But yeah, it'll give you bayonet protection. You could like run away or something if you got bayoneted. You just have to like break that fucking mental. Because like I thought I was going to die, and I'm like, what the fuck? I'm not dead. And he was like, what the fuck? He's not dead. But yeah, the armor is such a great. That itself is honestly a weapon. That's about it. There's the Osprey. If you guys like the Osprey, if you're Logi, just chuck some Osprey and some frag grenade. The guys love using them. They love using the Osprey. For Callahan.